That's
All right. This this
crazy.
next this next segment is going to be a good one. I think this warrants a lot of discussion, and I want to lead this one off. Okay, so the Seahawks and Sam Darnold just continue to win competitive games, and to me, this comes as a genuine shock to me the way the Seahawks and Darnold are playing this year. I was over the moon last year when I spent the entire season saying Sam Darnold in this Vikings thing is lightning in the bottle and it's not going to last and anyone could play in this Vikings system and all of that. And then, they had like a couple offensive line injuries. And then, boom, they lose to the Lions. They lost to the Rams earlier in the year. And then they lose to the Rams in the playoffs. Like, very bad 2 weeks from Sam Darnold under the pressure, holding on to the ball too long. Still in that same group of weapons, but I expected this year, oh, you trade away DK Metcalf and you're making just JSN the slot wide receiver the number one. Sam Darnold's your number one, your starting quarterback. You have a terrible offensive line. You're sure you drafted Gray Zabel, but this is just the Vikings offense, but way worse. So there was nothing I expected less than Sam Darnold in this offense to be consistent and this Seahawks team to be winning in different ways. Maybe not winning, but competing. They almost won in a shootout against the Bucks, and then turn around and get into a defensive showdown with the Jaguars, and they come out on top without even having Devon Witherspoon. So to me, I want to ask you guys, because I'm kind of up in the air about this. Will Sam Darnold redeem last year's playoff performance, get into the playoffs, and win a playoff game this year? Joey, why don't you go first?
I think when you pair what the Seattle defense is doing with Mike McDaniel with Sam Darnold, I think they could get a playoff win. Plus, the NFC is just wide open, so why not? Their defense is a problem, and they've won 9 straight road games. So, I mean, they're built to go on the road if they have to in the playoffs. I wouldn't doubt them. And plus, with the way you talk about Baker, what separates Baker from Sam Darnold? I feel like they're the same kind of guy.
Sam Darnold,
Like what?
yeah.
Sam Darnold was the third. He was the third overall pick. I mean, like we're not talking about some guy that's coming out of nowhere. He's finally just achieving his potential that was failed for years. That's what happens when you go to the Jets.
He was on the Jets. Let's give him.
Yeah,
Let's give him.
any team that gets drafted by the Jets, you're an automatic failure. You should just try to get out of it. It's funny. It's funny though. But it's true. But Sam Darnold. I kind of knew watching the Vikings last year. It's not all just Kevin O'Connell. It's part of the talent that he has with Sam Darnold, and I feel like Seattle's a perfect fit for him right now with what they want to do on offense.
Dan, will Sam Darnold redeem his playoff performance from last year and win a playoff game this year?
Okay, before I get to that point, I'm gonna just say, Garrett Wilson, you did great for me for fantasy. Don't listen to Joey. You did okay on the Jets. What's it called? But as far as my thing, I personally feel as if he's gonna have and this might be a hot take, but kind of like a Carson Wentz story in a sense of like he's doing what he needs to do in this regular season. He's cooking. Everyone's got high hopes for him, and then it gets to the playoffs. And we all know when it comes to any sport, the playoffs in the NFL is completely different. It is do or die football. It is literally empty out your playbook as much as you can. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, to me, watching the Vikings in that Rams game when it was his last thing. And I get it. He got face mask on the last play, but it's like, I haven't really seen him in like high pressure situations where it's just like, I see Sam Darnold for the game, like winning drive besides the one time on the Vikings, I think. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
So it's like, to me, it's like, that's another case of my argument in the sense of like consistency. And he did that in the regular season with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Aaron Jones. With TJ Hawkinson, it's like they're all like top tier weapons while he's got JSN, and I'm not saying Kenneth Walker, AJ Barner, Bobo, and what's it called? His running backs are Kenneth Walker. Oh, yeah.
Wide receiver.
Cooper Kupp.
Oh, and Cooper Kupp.
And Cooper Kupp. I completely forgot he was there. But what's it called? No, like, you know what I mean? And his running backs are Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. I'm not saying it's like absolute dog water, but at the end of the day, it's like they're definitely not what the Vikings had or what he had on the Vikings. So I guess I'll say no. I'll say this year they're going to go in with the high hopes, but it's not going to pull through.
Yeah, and I think I'm so torn. I'm so torn. This is probably my biggest like question for myself and me doubting my own what I'm seeing, because I felt like last year it was like, yeah, like he's making the right plays and all that, but it's just like it made me think of when Kirk Cousins was like lighting it up, and then we see him go to the Falcons and just like play pretty much terrible in every game that wasn't the Bucks game, and then
Yeah, but he came off an Achilles injury.
huh.
Kirk Cousins was coming off an Achilles injury.
That's true.
When he was
Yeah,
playing.
it's 100% true, and that's one of the factors. But you know, I just couldn't see this coming at all. It's like, you know, the way Sam Darnold is winning on offense this year, I feel like is different from last year. The amount of seam routes he's like threaded the needle on, or like thrown on a rope with just such like aggressiveness, and such like confidence, like you could see it off of him when he throws it. He's like touchdown, you know what I mean? Like I got him, JSN. That's my guy right there. You know what I mean? And I think part of it is JSN breaking out as a number one. I don't think many of us expected him to be like. I think we thought he'd be good in fantasy based off volume, but to see him like win downfield like that, I do think is something that a lot of people expected. But just, you know, the run game and JSN behind a mid offensive line with Sam Darnold is not something I saw succeeding, and you know it's working right now. But I am so tempted to dig my heels in and just say and kind of go along with what Dan said, where like once the playoffs hit, you know, all the other defenses are all going to be like the Jaguars defense, or you know the Bucks defense with Todd Bowles like in playoff mode, where you're going to hold this Seahawks offense to like 20 points or something like that. Or remember what San Fran did week 1, holding them to like what was it, 13 or 17 points. And I feel like that is more of like who they are. I'm not sure that like Buccaneers game is truly reflective of who the Seahawks offense is, but I don't know. I'm kind of confused. One thing's for sure. At the end of this season, probably at the top of the where Scooter was wrong list is going to be Sam Darnold, because I've seen enough based off of last year and this year that it wasn't just a fluke. He's not that guy he used to be with the Jets, but he just has this Daniel Jones sort of feeling to me, where it's like every now and then you'll see kind of like that wacky play of like, oh man, you just totally lost it in your head right there. We saw it in the playoffs last year, and we had to wait until the playoffs to see it, you know, with some pass rush. So I think it is a very interesting question. I think you can make an argument either way, but I think I'm kind of leaning towards I think he could get a playoff win, but I'd say it's because of the defense. You know, I kind of agree with what Joey's saying about, you know, Mike Mack and this defense being fully healthy is one of the probably a top 5 to top 3 defense in the NFL, and that will win you a playoff game. So if it has to be because of that, then yeah, is he going to do enough to not throw away a game like that? I think he can. I'm very 51-49 on this. Anyone have any response to that before we move on?
If they failed because of defense, the one thing you could say about Seattle's defense is that their pass defense is not good. But they get after the quarterback. So if they can get sacks where the ball's out, they will be effective. But if the ball's getting out, their secondary is not that good. So that's kind of been their biggest weakness so far, and why they lost that game against the Bucks.
Yeah, they're more forcing incompletions and turnovers than they're really like locking you down. They're kind of betting the pass rush is going to get there.
Their front seven's nasty. It's just they got some holes in the secondary.
Yeah.
And that's why you've seen, I think, Tariq Woolen was like a healthy and active. Like he's been a guy that's just not even he's unplayable right now in Seattle. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a guy that gets traded by the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I low-key could see Tariq Woolen going to like the Broncos at some point.
Dallas, bring him to Dallas. Give me another corner. Yeah, we will take anyone on this defense. We have Kenneth Murray playing linebacker. He's lost. The lost dog.
And as far as the Seahawks goes too, it's like I'm not sure what their depth situation looks like, but they also seem like a team that it's just like they're like one injury away from like completely flopping, low key, especially to like their key players.
Another thing to add, Mike McDonald reminds me kind of like a Mike Vrabel and what he brings as a head coach. Like, I feel like he's just a straight culture guy.
You saw what he did on the Ravens. Dude was absolutely like,
yeah, he had number one defensive football. They held Mahomes scoreless in the second half of the AFC Championship game, and they lost. Why'd they lose? Because he was defending he had D1 AA offense on the other side. That's kind of why they lost. He should have a Super Bowl ring, unfortunately, and he probably should be the head coach of Baltimore. But they're stuck in their ways with their special teams coordinator. That's another conversation for another day, though.
All right, yeah, that's right. That is a conversation for another day. I think everyone's given their take on Sam Darnold and the Seahawks team. Very interested to see where they're going to go following